But first to the weak Cricket Australia board and the stupidly woke Australian cricket captain, who has made himself the subject of ridicule for his part in engineering the downfall of Justin Langer, the coach who led the Australian team to world #1 status after a stunning Ashes triumph. Whether it was cowardice or by design, Patrick Cummins sealed Langer's fate last week when he refused to utter a word in support of his coach. But the Test captain was more than happy to wax lyrical about global warming and fossil fuels.
Really pumped to announce the launch of Cricket for Climate. It's also a way to reduce their footprint by shifting towards renewable energy sources.
The activist captain even penned an absurd piece for the far-left Guardian website late last week, claiming that global warming is already wreaking havoc in cricket, with teams deciding it was too hot to be out in the field. He also wrote, "It is clear we are not doing enough to reduce carbon pollution, largely from the burning of coal, oil and gas." And Cummins also said Australia needs to at least halve our carbon emissions by 2030 to have any chance of keeping warming to below 2 degrees and avoiding the worst impacts of climate change. Of course, being a climate change warrior won't see Pat Cummins make any meaningful personal sacrifices, such as, finding a profession that doesn't require him to continuously fly around the world on emission-spewing planes. No, like all wealthy global warming alarmists, he's happy to support crippling policies that will adversely impact the living standards of the masses, while his lifestyle and gargantuan carbon footprint remain unchanged. And while he was lecturing us on climate change, Pat steadfastly refused to express any support for his coach, making it clear that he was more than happy to see him turfed. It's a bizarre way to treat a cricket legend who has just delivered the team a World Cup victory and Ashes triumph. Before Justin Langer was forced out, he was disrespected by Cricket Australia by being offered a paltry 6-month extension to his contract. It's the sort of offer you make when you want the coach to walk away, and walk away he did. Langer's reprehensible treatment at the hands of the lily-livered Cricket Australia board has understandably disgusted a cavalcade of cricket greats. Among those pointing the finger squarely at the captain is his former teammate and fast bowling great, Mitch Johnson. The former ICC Cricketer of the Year unloaded both barrels, labelling Pat Cummins gutless and saying that he's failed his big first test as captain. He wrote, "Cummins might have delivered with the ball during the Ashes series, but he has failed his first big test as captain pretty miserably. He had plenty of public opportunities to endorse an extension for Langer, so when he let it through to the keeper every time, it became pretty obvious he didn't want it to happen. Cummins holds a lot of power and must have been central to what's happened. He's clearly had an agenda to get in a coach he wants. His recent interviews have been gutless by not respecting his coach when he could have been upfront from the start." Johnson went further, claiming the player mutiny we've seen against Langer has devalued the hallowed baggy green. He wrote, "The baggy green is hyped as the most revered symbol in Australian sport. But what does it stand for now? In the wake of the disgraceful white-anting of Langer as coach, which led to his resignation on Saturday, it stands for selfishness." These are extraordinary comments, and Mitch Johnson is hardly alone in being disgusted by the way Langer has been treated. Former Australian coach Mickey Arthur wrote, "Disgraceful way to treat a coach. Offering 6 months is a slap in the face." Former Australian captain Ricky Ponting said a small cohort of players failed to support Langer. He said, "That's been enough to force a man who has put his life and heart and soul into Australian cricket and done a sensational job at turning around the culture and the way the Australian team has been looked at in the last few years, to push him out of the job." Test grade Adam Gilchrist also blamed a small group of players for white-anting the coach. He wrote, "Still can't get over what a pathetic day for Australian cricket yesterday was." Other greats are also upset, among them Mark Taylor and Steve Waugh. It seems a few snowflakes in the team did not enjoy Justin Langer's tough, uncompromising style and intense demeanour. I mean, God forbid, he may have occasionally raised his voice too. How did they ever cope? It's hard not to conclude that the lunatics are running the asylum at Cricket Australia, with the board surrendering control to the players. For his part, Justin Langer issued what must be the most perfect apology ever. He said, "My life has been built on values of honesty, respect, trust, truth and performance. And if that comes across as too intense at times, I apologise." Imagine that, apologising for being too focused on respect, honesty and performance. It's like Shane Warne apologising for taking too many wickets. As they say, success is the best revenge, and there'd be some karmic justice in Justin Langer taking up the head role with the English team and coaching the Poms to an Ashes victory.